Hey guys, I just want you to get a little bit of the feel. Some of you, how many of you have never seen any Rocky movie? Losers, losers, loser. Never seen a Rocky movie. My goodness, that's why we showed so many clips. And tonight we're basically going to use a lot of clips and let the message for tonight come from the movie. But I want to just kind of go back to where we were last week. Last week we talked about starting the process of building a legacy. Becoming someone that lives your life in a way that will count after you are gone. When you are out of this place and everybody's sitting around talking about you, what will they say? And will the way you lived your life actually make a difference? The thing I want you to see about Rocky tonight in Rocky 2 is we see simply how did Rocky build that legacy. The number one thing you see in Rocky in all of his movies is that he would not quit. You saw it in that movie. Mickey tried to tell him he was laying on the mat, and Mickey's over there going, stay down, because you are getting killed. And Rocky gets back up, and he sits in his corner, and they're talking about stopping the fight, and he says as he gets up for that last round, if you stop this fight, I'll kill you. He would never, ever quit. And we're going to talk about that tonight because I just want to see what we can learn from that. I completely believe we can all build a legacy that will last for years and years after we're gone. And we can do something in our lives that makes a difference to every person that we ever meet and people that our children meet because we have done our job up front. But tonight, after that legacy part, once we decide we want to do that, there are way too many opportunities in our world for us to quit and for us to give up and for us to just decide, hey, I made a great resolution or hey, I made a great decision or hey, I made a commitment to go do this, but you know what? This ain't all that. I think I'll just quit and go home. It's very easy for us to do that. But I want us to talk tonight specifically about how it is that you can make it to the end. Rocky's deal in that movie was his goal was really not to win and beat the champion because he knew going in he didn't have much of a shot. His goal was to go 15 rounds. And he did. And he did because he kept going in there and getting his head beat off, like some of us like to do. And he kept going until he finished his goal. And I want us to talk about tonight just a few minutes about what it is that we can do to become people that finish what we start, that complete the task and get things done. Before we do that, we have a top 10 list for you tonight, and it's 10 of the best things Mickey ever said in the Rocky movies. So some of them are quite encouraging to Rocky. And some of them are just life things that we'll talk about later. But I want us to go through it and throw that clip up there and let's watch these 10 things. Number 10.
Pick him up! Pick him up! Put him down! What's the matter? You're so fast. What are you standing still or something? Speed! Speed! Can't you catch your little chicken? Huh? Come on, run. Move your tail! Move your tail! You look like a girl out there. What's the matter with you?
Isn't that encouraging? That's what Rocky got to work with. Number 9.
Hey, Mick, I want to use my other arm.
If you do, I'm going to chop it off. Is that clear?
Just pure encouragement.
You have to wear that stinking sweatshirt.
Well, it brings me luck, you know.
You know what it brings? It brings flies.
Number 7.
No, I can't learn how to fight right-handed no more.
What's can't? There ain't no can'ts. There's no can'ts. Now he will beat you uglier than you are now. Now listen, if you start fighting right-handed, and then you change sudden, and that'll make history. But first, you gotta get speed. Demon speed. Speed's what we need. We need greasy, fast speed.
Some things about Mickey were just a little freaky.
What's that in your ear there?
What is it? Just, I hear stupid things better.
You're gonna be a greasy, fast Italian monster. You're gonna eat lightning. You're gonna crap thunder.
Again, pure encouragement.
Here he is now, look.
Oh, my baby. Oh.
Is that it? bucks.
Don't bet.
Come on, I'll break your head. Wait a minute. You lost your brain or something? We gotta fight.
Sorry, I'm here.
Remember that? Get dressed, will you? You got guts to go back in the ring with him, kid.
Thanks a lot, Mick.
If you want to stay here, I'll stay with you. I'll stay with you. Yeah. I'll stay and pray. I gotta lose.
That's one of my favorite clips in all of Rocky series when Mickey sits down and he said, first, one of my favorites is when he looks at the baby and says, "Is that it?" That was one of my top ones. But when he says at that end, he sits down in the chapel and she's in a coma at this time and she's had the baby and she's not doing good and Rocky's freaking out. And he says, "Rocky, if you want to give your career away and end this whole thing now, I'll sit over here and I'll stay and we'll give it all away together." But then he bows his head and says, "I'll pray. I got nothing to lose." And the thing that means to me and to you and to all of us as we look at this stuff, guys, there are a lot of people in this room tonight that's your attitude. And that's your mentality because you don't know any better and nobody's ever taught you any better or you haven't seen anything lately that's better. And you're thinking, man, I'll pray because, heck, what have I got to lose? And you know what? I want you to know you have billions and billions of things to gain because that's what God is about. And that's what we're going to learn tonight. Yeah, you guys rock. That's all I'm saying. I just have to ask you the question. How do you, in this world that we live in, move along when you feel like all the hope is gone? What do you do at that point? When you feel like everything you had a shot at just went away. What do you do then? If you watch Rocky, which I know that all of you will go out and buy the DVDs quickly because of this series, they should actually send us part of the money. But when you watch these movies, you will see that there are plenty of times in Rocky's life, in his boxing career, that everything that he hoped for was gone. And it's the same way in my life and your life. There are times when everything you had planned goes to pot. And there are times when everything you've got on your schedule and you've got these big hopes and ideas, and all of a sudden none of that is going to happen. How in the world do we finish? How do we get to the end? How do we get to the finish end of the fight where we've gone 15 rounds and we are successful? How do we get there when we have to go through times like all hope is gone? When tragedy happens, when families break up, when jobs go away. What do we do then? We're going to look at some things tonight out of Rocky's life, but most importantly, we're going to look at some things that the Bible has to say about him, and we're going to see how those things match up, and we're going to talk about how we can go from right here where we are to being however old we are when God takes us out of here and being able to know that we finished and we did what God called us to do. And I just want to give you a couple of thoughts on that during our night. Number one thing is you can't get too caught up in yourself. Watch this clip.
Nice car, right? It's a great car.
Hey, here's the papers, right?
Thanks a lot. Yeah,
Congratulations. Lots of luck.
Thanks a lot. Same to you. Same to you. Isn't that nice?
We really don't need a car.
Oh, come on, Adrian. You know, I'm going to be doing commercials now. I can afford this, you know? No problem.
Well, do you know how to drive?
Do I know how to drive?
Do you know how to drive?
I'm one of the greats. Are you kidding? Come on, I'll drive you. Let me put you inside the car. This will just be like Cinderella and the pumpkin, you know?
Do you know how to drive?
I know how to drive. I drive airplanes and bulldozers. I'd drive you crazy if you give me a chance, you know what I mean? Oh, yo, Adrian. Look at this here. Tell me that wouldn't look great on you, huh? This coat here, huh? What about that one? You look good on me? Is that great? Hey, look at this black thing here with a tiger on the back. You like animals? I love animals. Black, I like black. Black's kind of my favorite color. You want to buy them? Well, I say we get it before someone else buys it. What do you say? Come on, Adrian.
I think that would be perfect for her.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, too.
Don't you think this is kind of expensive? You know?
Well, hey, do you like having a good time? Huh? Then you need a good watch. I'll tell you what, I want to get one for Paulie, too, okay? We'll take these.
What about one for yourself?
One for me?
One for you.
Well, I can't tell time very good, but all right, I'll take one, too.
Very good.
What you'll find out later is that for Rocky's fight, he made $37,000. And I'm sure in 1975, that was huge money. But he took his $37,000, went and bought himself a Trans Am and all the watches. And his next stop was at the pet store to get a big fancy watch for his dog. And you heard Adrian telling him, we don't even need a car. And then you heard her knowing the facts of he can't really drive a car anyway. He thought he could. But have you ever heard the statement when you're saying something to somebody and they just look at you and say, you know what, you really don't need to take yourself so seriously? Some of you have heard that because you take yourself more seriously than others of us. Like, people don't tell me that very often because I'm just not ever very serious, so it's not a big problem for me. But some of you have heard that statement in your past. You really shouldn't take yourself so seriously. And what I think is if we're going to build a legacy for the future, if we're going to build something for our children and their children that can make a difference for generations to come, we really do have to stop taking ourselves so seriously. And I got the scripture that goes along with that is out of Acts chapter 3, verse 12. And it's going to pop up on the screen. It says this, when Peter saw this, he said to them, men of Israel, why does this surprise you? Why do you stare at us as if by our own power or godliness we made this man to walk? Basically, they had just done an incredible miracle. And everybody was staring at them. And one of them just had to make it clear and say, hey guys, why are you looking at us like we did something special? Because I want you to understand something. What we did was not by our power, but by God's power. And my first encouraging word to you tonight that is tough to deal with sometimes, but is this: if you're going to make it to the end, it'll be by His power and not your power. You won't make it on your power. How do I know that? Because we've all been trying to make it on our power forever. And you can talk about different commitments you've made in your life, different relationships you started, different this, different that, whatever. But we know that when we put too much on ourselves, we get burdened, and it gets really heavy, and we start to drop things. And we don't make it to the finish line because we've committed everything. Some of you are that kind of person. You're an overachiever. Again, never accused of that. Dave, not funny? But you're an overachiever, and you cannot say no to anyone. And I could come ask you today to do this job tomorrow, and you're like, fine, I can do that. And then somebody else walks up to you, and by the time the night's over, you've got 63 different things you've got to do tomorrow. And in your mind, you think you can handle that because you can handle it. And you're the achiever, and you're the person that can put it all on your back and take on. But you know what? That's not how it works in life. And the more stuff you pile on and you listen to people and take on their problems and their issues and their things and stuff and junk, and then you can't get out of bed because of everything that is piled on you. And who put it there? You did. Because you took yourself too seriously. What you'll see later, and I don't think we're showing a clip tonight, but was when Rocky sold his car to Paulie because he couldn't afford it anymore. And he couldn't pay the bills because he set out and said, you know what, I got $37,000. I can live the rest of my life on 37 grand. And he went for it. And he ends up broke because everything he had, he put in himself. And all the trust that he had, he put in himself. And guys, I want to tell you today, if you want to make it, if you want to live a life that makes a difference, it's not going to be about you. It's going to be about God and how He can do that in you. Number two, you can't take things that other people say about you too seriously. Anybody ever had that where somebody said something about you and you just kind of had to blow it off for you to run through a brick wall or something? Check out some of the things they told Rocky.
Well, now, did you come here to show me that dog?
No. But can I have my locker back?
Here, what's on your mind?
Fight.
What? You want to go blind?
Ah, nobody's going blind.
Now, you heard what I said?
Yeah, the eye's great, no problem.
Now, listen, every pug thinks he has one good one left. Now, forget it, because your fighting career is over, kid.
Boxing, because earlier today, I was down at Apollo Creed's palatial gym, and as usual, the world champion was not at a loss for words about Rocky Balboa.
Look, I know a lot of people out there want to see me in a rematch with a timid fellow who calls himself the Italian Stallion. But this man does not have the honor to meet me in the ring. Or is it Scallion?
Now listen,
what's his name?
Fairness, Apollo.
What
Rocky
is your name, man?
Balboa did officially retire.
Yeah, the bum's hiding, the bum's running. He doesn't want to face me. He's scared. You know it, and I know it.
Apollo, I think there's more here than meets the eye. You've been under close scrutiny ever since that split decision victory. A lot of reporters, Apollo, including me, thought it was an even draw.
That's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. But now I'm ready to have a rematch to prove that this lucky club fighter, and that's what he was, lucky, does not have the skill to last 5 minutes in the ring with a superior athlete like me. The man's running, the man's hiding, the man doesn't want to face me. So I say to you, Rocky Balboa, or whatever your name is, that I want the American people to know. I want the whole world to know that I'm ready, willing, and able to meet you anywhere, any place, anytime. I will meet and defeat this so-called fighter who calls himself the Italian Stallion. If the man only has the guts to give me a call, and you can call me collect. Call me, Balboa.
This is the encouragement he got. And I know that some of you grew up in families, but that's the encouragement you got. And I know that some of you are even in relationships today, and we can work on that in the relationship section later. But I know that you're in relationships today, that's the encouragement you get. And I know that some of you have been told your entire life, you will never amount to anything. And if you've never heard it before in your life, and if this is the first time ever in your life you've heard it, I want you to hear it directly from us tonight. You can do whatever God built you to do. You can do anything that God sets you out to go get done. And all the people that all your life have told you, you can't accomplish that. You don't look the part for that. You can't do that job. You can't go get that job. You can't do this for other people. You can't do this for this group or that group, or you can't be in that group, or whatever. We've all been told junk in our lives. And what Rocky heard that night was, what, if you don't know, he got in his first fight, he got his right eye beat to death. And Mickey was telling him, you fight again, you'll be blind forever. And then Apollo obviously is quite the encouraging factor in that. Because some of you have been told this kind of junk all your life. And I want you to hear a scripture passage that deals directly with it. It says in Galatians chapter 1, verse 10, obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant today. I want you to understand where that comes from in me. I am not a person that sets out in the morning. Some of you think that I am, but I'm not a person that sets out in the morning just to not please people. Lots of laughter over here. I'm really not. I'm not a person that likes to put up things and just to show that I don't care about people. But I can promise you this. In my life, the number one person I am trying to please is not you. And it's not anybody outside this building. It's not anybody that'll be in this building next week. It's not even my family sitting up here on the front row. It is God himself. And when God calls you to do something big, you don't have to worry about what other people say about that. And one of the things we have to do a whole lot in our lives is people that hear from God to go do something. Some of you tonight, you wish that you could give your life to Christ completely and totally and say, you can have it, God. I want to be whatever you want me to be. And you know without a doubt that the person sitting next to you would not approve of that. The person you will see when you get home tonight would not approve of that. The person that you go to work with tomorrow would not approve of that. And I want you to understand from me tonight, guys, if you want to build a legacy that lasts forever, stop taking yourself too seriously, and stop worrying so much about what other people are telling you. Because it's very clear in God's word, I am built to please him. Now, yes, in my life, as I walk with him, I try to please people. I try to be as nice as possible sometimes. Other times there's different things going on, but that's beside the point. But I want you to understand from me, you can do anything that you want to do. And you don't have to worry about pleasing other people in order to get that legacy built, in order to get that thing done. Third thing is something else. It's kind of crazy in the movie, but it's just that you can't get too caught up in what other people expect from you. Kind of the same, but a little bit different. Watch what they're talking about after Rocky finishes his fight.
How's your face, Rock?
Oh, no. How's it look?
I wouldn't want it. Okay, I got a little favor I'd like to ask you. You know your friend Gazzo, he admires you a lot, you know? Don't to give me your old job with him.
You mean collector?
Yeah, I'm good with numbers.
Yeah. Okay, as soon as I can finish, healing here, I'll tell him to give you my old job.
Okay. I appreciate that.
How are we feeling tonight?
Oh, very handsome. That tastes good.
My kid would die for your autograph.
Sure.
Would you sign it, please, to my good friend, Charlie Flynn?
Hands are so sore.
It's okay.
It's my first autograph.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This coming year, you know, Rocky, how you feel? You all right?
Yeah, I feel great being outside.
This coming year, you're going to make $300,000 with us.
Yeah?
This fiscal year.
Hey, Rock! Rocky! Hey, how you doing, Pete?
Hey, could you sign my head?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Hope it don't go to your brain. Bet that's heavy.
A little bit.
Yeah, well, just think how fast you'll be when you get it off.
Just a minute. Can I borrow
Thanks
this?
a lot.
Let me use your head for a minute, kid.
No.
It's time, Rocky. It's a
Wait,
standard deal.
I want to talk to you a little bit about this here.
It's a standard deal.
You just been talking about shaving stuff and
That's
things
all
like
you can
that?
do. Sledgehammers, whatever, batteries.
We've got all kinds of clothes.
all
I mean, all kinds of
Like
commercials.
balls
There could
and
be anything.
baseball.
Yeah, you're going to make $300,000. You've got to strike now while the iron's hot, you know. 20 minutes, it's all over.
Yeah, people kind of forget.
The time is now if you
Right
want to make
now.
$1. Here, sign it here.
Well,
Takes you 2 seconds to
I'll
sign.
tell you what,
it's a standard deal.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll sign it, but I gotta go somewhere now.
Where you going? What could be more important than this?
I just gotta do some things, you know. But I'll be back. I'll talk to you. So,
Will you
Where
give
will
me
we
a
call
call?
you?
Man. You want to call? I'll call you. You got a number?
no, I'll just call you. I'll go, hey, yo!
Okay.
I'll call you.
All right. You call. Here. Guy's got brain damage.
Yeah, she really turned out pretty.
Now listen, how much money you made from the last fight? I mean, how much money did you clear?
About 37 grand.
I know taxes kill you. What do you want to do with your money now? You want to put them on the street?
Hey, Tony, I just got married in here.
I know, and I'm happy for you. How's about investing in condominiums? It's safe.
Condominiums.
Yeah, condominiums.
I never use them.
Guys, how many of you truly feel like you are being forced to live up to an expectation that you will never, ever, ever accomplish? As he walks out of there, you see it, Paulie, which is his brother-in-law, comes in, and as he's still in the hospital trying to heal, asks for what? What do you ask for? He asks for his job. Hey, Rock, how's your face? Looks bad. Can I have your job? The next lady walks in. You heard Rocky say, that's my first autograph ever. Before Rocky had that one fight, he wasn't giving any autographs. Nobody cared. But then he steps up, and all of a sudden, everybody wants something from him. Even the person that's supposed to be the one, she runs Paulie out of the room because visiting hours are over so he can get his rest. But by the way, let me get something out of this deal. And then you see the guy trying to get him to sign a contract, the standard deal, which we see later, 300 grand wouldn't have been bad if he could have kept his car. The standard deal. Then the next guy's trying to get him to invest in something, and he's had the money for about 10 minutes. You know, he's been out of the hospital, just got married, and everybody expects something from him. I want you to go home tonight knowing that you don't have to please people. And in order to make it to the end, you've got to recognize that you don't have to please people, because if you try to please people, you won't get there. Because why do we know that? Because we are people, and we are never pleased. You with me? We are the same people that expect things from other people that are trying to please us that we will never be pleased with. And you are trying to please some of the same people. People are not your goal. Your life, if you want it to make it matter and make a difference forever and ever and ever, it's got to be about pleasing God. You can't worry about what people say, and you cannot worry about what people expect from you. Some of you were expected to go to certain schools. Some of you expected to have certain jobs. Some of you expected to go into the certain family business. Expectations can kill you if they're not followed by what God wants in your life. You got to be looking for that. And the fourth thing is this. You got to make a commitment for yourself. You got to make the commitment to build a legacy for yourself, because nobody else can make that commitment for you. Watch Rocky as he's fighting in this ring.
I ain't going down no more.
Hey, Rock, you get in trouble one more time, I'm with
Please don't stop nothing.
Now listen, let me stop it, cuz. Listen, you're getting killed out there.
It's my life.
It's my life. I ain't going down again. And when you go home and rent the DVD and watch it and you fall in love with the movies like we are, you will understand what he's just been through. He's been beat to death. He's gone down about 10 times already. And they say, we're going to stop this fight because you're getting killed. And he says, I'm not going down again. It's my life, and I'm going to finish it like I want to finish it. Guys, some of us have got to step up and say, you know what? I'm not going down again. You got to look at your wife when you get home tonight and say, honey, I ain't going down again. It is my life, and I will finish it the way God called me to finish it. Some of you got to decide about your jobs, about your future, about your relationships. I'm not going down anymore. But you know what? You're the only person that can decide that you're going to build a legacy. You're the only one. I don't get to decide that for you. I don't get to tell you that tonight. The people around you don't get to tell you that tonight. You got to decide that. That was when Rocky made the decision when he said, it's my life, and I'll die in here if I got to die in here. But you're not stopping anything. Guys, how cool would it be for us as people to look at the trash around us and the junk around us and the things people throw at us and the expectations and the this and the that and the what everybody wants from us and say, you know what? It is my life, and I'll finish it the way I plan to finish it. But you're the only one that can make that decision. Some of you now are struggling with things. You can't give stuff up. You can't get on to things. You can't get off of things. You can't start. You can't quit. You can't do this stuff. You know what? Mickey's statement in the first 10 deals, what is can't? Anything God calls you to do, you can do. Because he also says to you, I'll give you all the strength and all the power in the world to get it done. So tonight, all the things I'm saying to you that you're sitting there going, yeah, that's great ideas, but I could never make that happen. You know what? God can. When you start living for him and stop taking this so seriously. Because it ain't going to be about you. Last point I'll make, and we'll move on for the night. It says this. You got to finish. That's clear. If you want to build a legacy, you got to finish. I mean, think about it. Who's famous for starting stuff? Just starting things. Why do you talk about Michael Jordan all the time? Why do we still spend $145 for a pair of shoes with a brother's name on it that ain't even playing basketball anymore? You don't buy that shoe because he started well in the 4th grade. You buy that shoe because he conquered it all and finished strong. You don't talk about Michael Vick because he was the fastest kid in his preschool. You just don't. He may have been, probably was. But if he had quit running after that, nobody in here would own his jersey. Because they finished what they started. Guys, the only way to build a legacy that gets you to the point where it matters to people is you got to finish what you start. When you step up and say, I'm going to stop worrying about what people say, I'm going to stop worrying about other people's expectations, I'm not going to take myself too seriously, I'm going to jump on board with God and see what he wants to do with me, I'm going to finish that. Because the whole world quits. Everybody can quit. God says, I don't want you to quit. He says, I want you to finish what I've called you to finish. Acts chapter 20, verse 24 says, however, I consider my life worth nothing if only I may finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, which is living according to his gospel and sharing that. I count my life worth nothing if I can't finish the task that God called me to finish. Watch this last clip.
Rocky Balboa has shocked the world. He is the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, in our stunning upset, scoring the win by knockout, the new heavyweight champion of the world.
You're great. Good luck. Excuse me. I can't believe this has happened. I can't. And I just want to say thanks to Apollo for fighting me, Apollo. I want to thank Mickey for training me.
We love you, Rock.
Yeah, and I love you too. Most of all, I want to thank God. Except for my kid being born. This is the greatest night in the history of my life. I just want to say one thing to my wife who's home. Yo, Adrian, I did it!
All right, how many of you are crying already? We've watched these movies so many times, and my beautiful wife over here cries every time we see them. Like, oh, 18th time's a charm, huh? Yeah, that's about right. Because I want to tell you something just about my own personal life. When it's over, if I know somehow when it's going to end, I want to be able to say to my wife, hey, Tiffany, we did it. I want to be able to say to my kids, hey, guys, we did it. I want to be able to say to the people around me that cared about me more than just what I could do for them, but what they could do and what we could do together. I want to be able to say to those people, you know what? We did it. And Rocky's movie ended with him overcoming everything, overcoming the fact that people didn't want him to fight, overcoming the fact that people didn't think he could win, overcoming all of that junk. And all he wanted to say at the end was, Adrian, I did it. I challenge you, some of you husbands tonight, go home and tell your wife, whatever happens, whatever Satan brings our way, whatever God calls us to do, whatever we need to do in this life, whatever happens to us, whatever falls apart, whatever comes out good, bad, ugly, whatever, we're going to finish. And at the end of this thing, we're going to be together, and we're going to be able to say, we did it. That's what God calls us to. Then he tells us in one more scripture, it says in James 1:12, blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he stood the test of time, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. Guys, blessed is the man who stands the test of time. You know what? Understand my heart. We got a lot of people in our world today that'll quit on anything. We got a lot of people walking out the door of every job they get because they get a job and 3 days into it, they're tired and they want to go home. Some of you know some of those people. Some of you are those people, and some of you hired those people before. Some of you tomorrow are going to go fire them before they do that to you. I know. But in our lives, we're the same way. And I just encourage you, anybody can quit. Ask God, what is the legacy he wants you to build? And then look him in the face and say, I ain't going down again. It's my life, and I'm going to finish the way I'm supposed to finish it. And whenever it's over, be able to stand there and say, I did it. Not because of me, not because I'm the coolest, not because of what I've done, but with God's help, I have accomplished the goal that he called me to accomplish. Guys, the only way you do that is right up front. Let's not take ourselves too seriously, and let's give control of our lives to the God that can get us to the end. And that's what we're about. You want to talk about that tonight? Anybody around here wearing that silver tag that I, again, forgot and I got in trouble for? Anybody wearing that tag will talk to you about that. We'd love to share with you our hearts on how to step up and say, God, I want you to take me to the future. And I want you to build my future. And I want you to help me succeed in all the things that you've called me to succeed in. They got one more song to do that'll close us out tonight. We got to give it up for you guys. Guys, I just want to tell you a couple more things before we get out of here tonight. One, seriously, it's always the answer. If you want to talk to somebody, man, we'll stay. We will be here tonight, and we will talk to you, and we will share anything you need us to share. We'll help you through anything you're going through, whatever that is. That's why we do this. So don't think we're all just going to rush out just because 24 starts in 1 hour. I'm taping it, so we're good. Whatever you need to do. Second thing, coming up, we got 2 more weeks of Rocky, which is going to be awesome. And then the next week is February the 4th, which is Super Bowl Sunday. We will have the Super Bowl bash of your life right here at the XL building. So don't worry about skipping because you don't want to come to this. You can come to this and we'll watch the TV. We'll have these running the game. We'll have TVs in there and there and all over the place running the game for you. So be here for that night and we'll have a blast. Is that cool, y'all? All right, I got one more clip because I think there's a clip in this Rocky movie that really kind of sets the whole thing off. So that we've been a little deep tonight, a little heavy tonight. You need to end with something like this, just right here.
Rocky, what'd you think going into the last round?
I don't know, that I should have stayed in school or something.
Rocky, do you think you have brain damage?
I don't see any.
How's that? Rocky, do you think you have brain damage? I don't see any. Guys, go for it, brother. You're welcome to stay. Do what you want to do. Get you a drink. Thank you for coming. Please be back next week. See you later.